I've talked before about how the animals bless us, and this is indeed another one of those sermons, a message of appreciation and gratitude for the reciprocity that exists between humans and animals. I am blessed to have an office next to Reverend David who frequently fills his bird feeders and provides both of us a delightful show of birds, many kinds. They perch on the branches of the trees nearby to ask for more food, and he faithfully responds, even if we're in the middle of a meeting. And I don't mind. It's really not a criticism. I admire him for it. We're able to continue talking and processing while nature just shows off. Sometimes we'll stop and gaze at the young fawn that's passing behind our offices. Other times it'll be a set of fox kits or butterflies or baby turtles. Nature never ceases to amaze with its magnificent diversity of creation. It is a spiritual practice to fill the feeders and look into the woods waiting for the birds to arrive. It is a spiritual practice to volunteer at the animal shelter, cleaning cages and washing towels and food bowls, gathering bundles of hay and toilet paper tubes for the rabbits. It's a spiritual practice to walk your dogs and pet your cats and hold your hedgehogs. It's a spiritual practice to stop the car and witness a flock of snow geese rising from a field. It's a spiritual practice to leave apples for the deer behind your house. Eckhart Tolle, a spiritual teacher and author, writes about what happens when you're holding or even watching an animal. He says, "Thought subsides when you pet your dog or you have a purring cat on your chest. Even just watching an animal can take you out of your mind. It is more deeply connected with the source of life than most humans, and that rootedness in being transmits itself to you. Millions of people who otherwise would be completely lost in the conceptual reality of their mind are kept sane by living with an animal. We fill the feeders perhaps because it keeps us sane. We know that the birds can find other food out in nature, but we desire their presence and provide for them in order to be in it. The Time for All Ages story today, The Cat Man of Aleppo, holds both the heartbreaking narrative of war and the life-giving narrative of helping others, helping cats, other animals, and humans survive in what's left. Eckhart Tolle invites us to learn from our creature friends about presence and mindfulness by saying, watch any plant or animal and let it teach you acceptance of what is. Surrender to the now. Let it teach you being. Let it teach you integrity, which means to be one, to be yourself, to be real. Let it teach you how to live and how to die, and how not to make living and dying into a problem. Whew. Who knew that animals had all of that to teach us without even using words? Perhaps one year we could just hold a silent sermon for the animal blessing and let the birds and wildlife do the talking. Or better yet, anytime you need a good word from Spirit, simply step outside. Or pss, 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 and get your kitty to cuddle up to you. The wisdom of their presence will preach. Amen. Another of my favorite sources of wisdom is television. There's a great Twilight Zone episode. Stay with me. It's called The Hunt, and it's about this old man and his dog, Rip, that go out one evening for a hunt, and unfortunately they don't make it home. He wakes wakes the next morning and journeys on an unfamiliar road with his dog until he comes to a gate. And the gatekeeper takes down his name and some information, including how he died. And the man spends a little time in denial while he talks with the gatekeeper, but the gatekeeper reassures him that he is in fact dead. He's on the eternal road, he said, and this is the gateway to the celestial palace where the old master has his headquarters. The old man wonders why he can't hear singing and dancing. "Oh, that's because you're on the outside. Come in and reap your heavenly reward," says the gatekeeper. But there's only one problem. No dogs allowed. His rip cannot come in, explains the gatekeeper. There's another place for him right down the road. If you just tie him to the fence and go on in, I'll take him down the road later. Well, the old man won't have that, and so he gathers the leash and he turns to walk away from the gatekeeper. And the gatekeeper says, "Wait, where are you going? There's nowhere else to go." And he says, "Any place that's too highfalutin for my rip is too nice for me. What kind of heaven would it be with just dogs or just humans?" The old man wanders off with his dog and sits down on a log to reflect on what a strange place it must be in there just without dogs and no coon hunting either. After a time, along comes another man looking for him. He says, "If you and Rip are all set, we might as well mosey on down the road." "Mosey along where?" asked the old man. "Well, heaven," says the man. And the old man explains that he already decided not to go anywhere without his dog. "That'd be a hell of a place without Rip," he says. And the man replies, "Oh, you didn't get mixed up with those folks, did you? You ain't far wrong. That is hell." The old man wondered why they wouldn't allow dogs in there. And he said, "A man will walk into hell with two eyes open, but even the devil can't fool a dog." The old man and the angel walk along the road to the gates of heaven, which notably are wide open. What kind of life would we have without animals? What lengths would we go to access spirituality and divinity, even heaven on earth? We are eternally blessed by the creation that surrounds us, as well as the domesticated creatures that companion us on our lives. It is now my absolute pleasure and honor to invite you to participate in a ritual of animal blessing. I'm going to invite those with animal friends to come forward in a moment to receive a blessing. But if you would like to stay back with your pet, or if you're joining us online, I'm going to bless their head for their instinct and attention. I'm going to bless their hearts for their loyalty and love. And I'm going to bless their bodies that move and snuggle and grow alongside us. I invite you to come forward now. There's also treats on this altar table with some photos of pets who have passed. Please come forward and join in community. thank you all for participating in such a wonderful blessing. I feel blessed in the process.